The Accelerator and Engineer are both powerful DPS towers, and for many people who have both of them, struggle on which one to pick for their loadout. In this video, I will explain which tower is better and why. But before I go any further, I would greatly appreciate it if you like and subscribe, as it only takes a few seconds and it means a lot to me. First, we'll begin with the stats. Let's start with the Accelerator. At level 0, it costs $4,500 to place, deals 10 damage every 0.208 seconds, has an overcharge of 300, takes 2.5 seconds to charge up, 2.5 seconds to cool down, has a range of 18, and a DPS of 26.69. At level 1, it costs a total of 5,500, deals 15 damage every 0.208 seconds, has an overcharge of 300, takes 2.5 seconds to charge up, 2.5 seconds to cool down, has a range of 18, and a DPS of 32.75. At level 2, it costs a total of $8,000, deals 15 damage every 0.208 seconds, has an overcharge of 600, takes 2.5 seconds to charge up, 2.5 seconds to cool down, has 20 range, and a DPS of 15.05. At level 3, it costs a total of $12,750, deals 40 damage every 0.208 seconds, has an overcharge of 600, takes 2.5 seconds to charge up, 2.5 seconds to cool down, has a range of 20, and a DPS of 73.89. At level 4, it costs a total of $24,000, deals 40 damage every 0.158 seconds, has an overcharge of 1,280, takes 1.5 seconds to charge up, 2.5 seconds to cool down, has a range of 22.5, and a DPS of 141.34. At level 5, it costs a total of $60,000, deals 100 damage every 0.108 seconds, has an overcharge of 2,400, takes 1.5 seconds to charge up, 2.5 seconds to cool down, has a range of 25, a DPS of 364.08, and a value of $164.8 per DPS. As you just saw, max level has the best value, which is very convenient for a late game DPS tower since you want to max them all out as soon as possible. But with that out of the way, now it's time for the Engineer. At level 0, it costs a total of $750, deals 4 damage, has a fire rate of 1.208, a range of 13, a DPS of 3.31, and can build 1 normal sentry, which has a damage of 1, a fire rate of 0.458, a range of 18, and a DPS of 2.18. Combined, their DPS is 5.49. At level 1, it costs a total of $1,000, deals 6 damage every 1.208 seconds, has a range of 15, 1 max unit of DPS of 4.97, and a max combined DPS of 7.15. At level 2, it costs a total of $1,400, deals 6 damage, has a fire rate of 1.208, 17 range, 2 max units, 4.97 DPS, and 9.33 combined DPS. At level 3, it costs a total of $3,200, deals 12 damage every 1.208 seconds, has a range of 17, 2 max units, a DPS of 9.33, and can now build rifle sentries which deal 2 damage every 0.308 seconds and have a range of 20 with a DPS of 6.49. Combined, this is a DPS of 22.91. Level 4 costs a total of 6,200 cash, does 18 damage every 0.758 seconds, has a range of 18, 3 max units, a DPS of 23.75, and a combined DPS of 43.22. At level 5, it costs a total of $18,700, does 30 damage every 0.758 seconds, has a range of 18, 3 max units, 39.58 DPS, and can now build minigun sentries, which deal 5 damage every 0.168 seconds, have a range of 20, a DPS of 29.76, and combined DPS of 128.86. At max level, it costs a total of $53,700, does 50 damage every 0.608 seconds, has a range of 20, and can place 4 units, which are now War Machine Sentries, which deal 8 damage every 0.128 seconds, and have 35 times 2 splash damage every 4 seconds, and a range of 24, meaning they have a DPS of 80. Combined, this is a DPS of 402.24 with a value of $133.44 per DPS. The Engineer does seem better at first glance, having better DPS, better value, and partial stun immunity from its sentry shields at level 4+. However, there are some important things to consider. Firstly, the Accelerator has 5 more range than the Engineer, which can make a big difference in games like Fallen or Hardcore. The Accel also has a higher placement load of 8 as opposed to the Engineer's 6, meaning the Accel can reach a total of 2,912.64 DPS, while the Engineer can only get 2,413.44. In addition to the Excel having a higher max DPS, it can also get more buffed by supports. With the Commander's 50% fire rate buff and the DJ's 20% damage buff, the Excel has a DPS of 441.98, while the Engineer has a DPS of 468.03, meaning the Excel gets buffed by 21% and the Engineer buffed by only 16%. While the Engineer does have slightly more DPS under the Commander and DJ, the difference gets even smaller when you consider more supports like the Mercenary base. Considering in most games you will have support towers, it makes more sense to consider the tower's DPS with the supports. Meaning, the Accelerator can get a total DPS of 3,535.84 with Commander and DJ, and the the Engineer can only get 2,808.18, which is a big difference. While unrelated to DPS, the Accelerator only costs 2,500 gems to buy in the shop, which is nearly half of what the Engineer costs, 4,500. So it seems like the Accelerator is clearly the winner, right? Well, there is one more main thing to consider. The Engineer can be used throughout the entire game, since it only costs $750 at level 0 and $6,200 at level 4. After all these numbers and stats, which tower is better? Well, while the Engineer does have early game potential and partial sun immunity, the Accelerator just seems like a better pick in nearly every scenario. So, there you go. In my opinion, the Accelerator is overall better than the Engineer, but I do want to make it clear that both towers are exceptional in their own ways, and there will be situations where the Engineer will be better, like in Polluted Wastelands 2 early in the mid-game. Make sure to like and subscribe if you found this useful. It's completely free and helps me a ton. Thanks for watching.